Alright guys, I've got another subject I'd like to talk to you about real quick, and that is pruning your young cuttings and how important it is. And I'm going to take you back here in just a second, show you the rhododendrons and white Gela and all these things that we've been propagating lately and why it's so important to prune your cuttings and the effects that we'll get in the long run. So let's go take a look at those right now and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Alright guys, so these are all my rhododendrons that are 2.5 years old now. They actually looked like these guys along here that I just potted up this year that are 1.5 years old, and all of these will take off like crazy. You can see I potted them up and rooted all of these guys, and they've got new buds starting to form. They'll look like these next year this time, which seems amazing. Seems like how could that happen so quick, but they will, trust me. I've been doing this a long time and watched it year after year after year. But these are, I want to show you this. These are my Anna Rose Whitney rhododendrons. These big lush green growth right here. These are the Anna Rose Whitney, and they tend to be a huge rhododendron over time, which I love these giant rhododendrons. Now, the one thing that I want to show you here, you see all of this. Now, this one I might leave right here, but you could prune it. But you see all this huge growth. I mean, this is, let's get back here. That is probably 14 inches in some spots of growth here off of that tiny little plant. And so it's really important to prune that back. And I know you don't want to because it's such beautiful growth. And with this one in particular, there's a few I may, like this one as well, I may just leave that guy right there. And for sales purposes, I may leave a lot of these because they actually look pretty good. I did a good job of pruning them really early on, and so I've got 4 stalks coming up here, which is what we want. And these stalks will all harden off really nicely and be nice scaffolding branches to support a good, healthy, beautiful rhododendron with nice big buds. Now, I may leave these guys, this one for sales purposes, because it's gonna form some nice flower buds on top and it'll look real good next year. But if we look over here, I want to pull this one out. Let me see if I can get to it here. Oh boy, some of these are getting lanky. This is why it's so important to prune these guys young. This one right here is just not, I mean, the growth is lush, it looks great, but it's just not gonna be right. If you let that go, it's gonna be leaned way over, it's gonna be, you know, it's gonna grow real weird and awkward, and it'll never look like a nice saleable plant. And it won't look good on your landscape. And you can see it's already so heavy with this new growth, it's just pulling that stem down. So one of the things I do is I kind of comb through all of my rhododendrons, and like I said, this is the year, or actually next spring, I would work on normally selling these rhododendrons because they'll be ready by then, and there will be a lot of nice flower buds. But I have to go through them and make sure I'm not ending up like this, because that won't be worth selling next year. So usually, like I said, I do a good job pruning, but some of them slip by me. So what I'm going to do is just clip this guy right here and right here. And I know that kind of sucks to do because you got a lot of nice new growth, but that growth right here actually came on within just a couple months, and we're only in the beginning of June. So by the end of summer, this will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I can see like 5 or 6 new little buds coming off of this guy, just this one branch, and there's going to be just as many, maybe 2 or 3, 4, something like that coming off of this one. The new growth will actually be shorter. It might come up this high, maybe 6 inches. It'll be stouter. It'll be able to this plant will be able to support that new growth better, and it will be a happier, healthier plant in the long run. So you've got to go through and you've got to prune your young plants like that. It's just really, really important, or you're not going to have very nice looking plants down the road. It's hard to do in the beginning, but if you can train yourself to look for that and do that, you'll have better looking plants in the landscape in the long run. Now, just to prove this and show you, because a lot of people worry, well, what if the new buds don't come out? What if it doesn't work out? It will, and I want to show you. One of the hardest things to do with your new cuttings is to take and just cut the the top growth right off of it, because they're so young and new, and the last thing you want to do is just cut them down right away, because you're just starting to watch them grow. But this shows you that it's absolutely necessary. So you can see when I potted this one up, and I probably could have even gone down one layer below, and maybe should have, but this is going to work out just fine. So I've got this Horizon Monarch here, rhododendron, and this had healthy growth coming off of it last summer. So all of this growth that I cut off right here was from last summer, and it had hardened off through the winter. When I cut that there, it allowed all of these little buds. You see all those guys just popping right out of there. Now those buds looked like these buds that you see down at the base of the leaves last or a couple months ago. But that's what happens when you take that one stalk off. Now I'm going to have, it looks like 5 nice new shoots, and because this plant has to support 5 new shoots, the shoots are each going to be a little bit shorter. They're not going to be so tall and lanky and be leaning over. They're going to be shorter and more stout, and this plant's going to be able to support them, and it will go on to grow into a nice, beautiful landscape plant. And it takes a little more time to do it this way, but you're going to have healthier, happier plants in the long run. So that just shows you. Here's another example. This is another Anna Rose Whitney, just like the one over there that I took cuttings, or that I took the 2 tops off of, and it had a top growing out of it. It was just growing straight up. There was the original cutting. You can see the leaves I cut in half, and then it grew one shoot, and it grew another shoot from here right through the summer, or right through last summer, and then hardened over the winter. I cut that off when I potted it up, and now look at what we've got. Tons of nice new little shoots coming out of there, and like I said, it won't be looking good, real good, until the end of summer, but by the end of summer I guarantee you they're going to start looking like they'll be up to this level. You see all the new growth coming on, but they'll be up to this level, and then they'll be ready to start doing this by next spring. So by next spring, that plant right here, this little cutting right here, because we pruned it properly early on, will look just like that, and you'll have a nice, beautiful plant. All right, we're about a week later, and so I thought, since I hadn't got the video posted yet, I'll come out and show you again where these little buds are, and they're really shooting up nicely. They're about 1 inch tall, some of them, and all along here I've got buds just opening up. And like I showed you before, I pruned those back. You can see right where I pruned each of those. I had one tall stem right here and one tall one right here in the middle. And now I've got 3 on each side. So I'm going to get a much fuller, healthier, nicer looking plant in the long run. These guys are really starting to take off. The weather's warming up. It's kind of a weird spring. The sun isn't out as much right now, but it's warming up and these guys are starting to take off. Really kind of neat. It just goes to show you, every year I prune these guys back when I pot the cuttings up, and I kind of cringe a little bit because I think I'm doing something bad, but every year as they start opening up, it just reassures me that I'm doing the right thing, because I mean, you can see right there, one long tall stem turns into 3 nice beautiful stems, and they'll be shorter and more full, and these plants will look much healthier in the long run. Now we do the same thing with all of our landscape plants. So we've got this variegated white Gela, and you saw me make that video about the hydrangea cuttings last year, and now we've got all of our variegated white Gela going here. And you can see, let's get down here, you can see all this lanky growth coming straight out, and that's how these things grow. So what I'm going to actually do is it's kind of a tough thing to want to do, but I'm going to come down here and I'm going to just clip that top right off. Now we're actually in, you know, June 12th, and so that would make a perfect cutting. Now the rhododendrons you can't do that with, those cuttings over there, because they're better taken as semi-hardwood cuttings, and those will just wilt over and die. They'll never root. But you can do that with these variegated white Gela, and a lot of these deciduous little landscape plants will root perfectly like this. So that would be a beautiful rooted cutting, and I probably will come back out here and take a lot of the material off of these and just start rooting these guys on into nice beautiful landscape plants. So now that I've taken that little cutting there, this plant will actually, and you can already see it's forming new little shoots. It'll get 2 new shoots coming out of there. And with these kinds of plants, these deciduous, especially the white Gela, you've got to prune several times through the summer to make it a nice, beautiful, full plant. But anyway, you can see the necessity of actually taking these cuttings or taking the, pruning these things when they're young. And then, like I said, you can also get cuttings out of them. So alright guys, so here's a shot of those same white Gela after I came out and pruned them. I came out a few days later because I was taking some cuttings of them, and I pruned all these guys back, and all I did was just grab. I didn't really look exactly where I was taking the pruning, but I just grabbed them like this, put them all together, and then used my shears and just clipped them all right off. So it made it really easy. But right now they don't look too spectacular. You can see that one's a little sparse with the leaves there, but all those new little buds that you can see will all pop out and start growing on real nice here. And these things grow fast, as you can see. If you look back at that last video, I'll put a link up here in the corner. If you look back at that last video, you'll see where they started and where they came in just a couple months. And by end of July, these things will be just shooting off and big and tall again. And so I might even have to come back, like I said, and prune them again one more time in the summer. But that's what they look like right now. I just wanted to show you guys real quick. Here's a shot of that mother Anna Rose Whitney that I've taken all of my cuttings off of, and I have pruned this back several times through the years, and you can see what a beautiful, nice full plant it's turned into. And as it matures, you can see that new growth is just really tall. It'll get up to 1 foot tall, each of those new shoots, but the lower plant is strong and sturdy and can support all of that growth because of all the pruning that I did. Alright, so I just showed you that mother Anna Rose Whitney, and I wanted to take you over here for a second, show you something. My wife was really worried about this at first, but it's working out just great. Pruning is a really good thing to do for your landscape plants. That mother Anna Rose Whitney, these are all of its babies, and they're probably about 7 years old from the time I took the cuttings. They've been in the ground for a while. Now these shrubs were about 5 foot tall, and they were kind of getting lanky, and this particular rhododendron tends to grow that way, just real tall. And I want to prune them back and get them fuller. Now I knew I was going to take a hit here this year and they weren't going to look as good, but in the long run it's going to be much better. Now this growth, you can see, was just real tall and lanky, and it just wasn't as strong. And I pruned these things back hard, all the way down to 2 foot. Some of them are 3 foot above the ground, and my wife just cringed. But here we are about, maybe 3 weeks after I pruned, and you can see tons of new growth coming off of these things. And I brought her out here to show her this, just to show her, hey, these guys are going to be just fine, and they're going to be healthier and happier rhododendrons for it in the long run. Right now they don't look so special, but you can really prune a lot of these back really hard and they'll recover just fine. So I'll have to show you a clip of these guys in another year or two when they really start filling out, and I think you're going to like the results. They'll start looking like that mother I just showed you here a minute ago. So if you guys have cuttings that you rooted last year, now's the time to get out there and really start looking them over and pruning them back to where you're going to get multiple branching at a low area. Now, I know it's hard to do in the beginning when you're first starting out propagating, because you finally got this new little rooted cutting and you want to see it grow, and that's awesome. And you know, I'm the same way, but you've got to train yourself. Even when you're new at this and you're just starting out and you don't have a lot of plants, you got to train yourself to start just pruning them early. You'll have a much healthier, nicer, happier looking plant in the long run. So get out there, check your plants over, get them pruned back, trust me, in a couple months they're going to look fantastic. So I hope this helped you guys out a lot. If you like the video, please like it. If you have anything you want to talk about in regard to this subject, just comment down below. And if you want to follow along and see more propagation videos and just farm gardening videos in general through the rest of the summer and on into the future, please hit the subscribe button. Thank you guys, and I'll see you in the next video.